Monolith has arrived, and with it are a whole host of changes. In this video I'm going to cover the middle lane and the role of a mid laner. A middle laner can define a game. Map awareness and decision making are something you need to have. To be a successful mid laner you need to rotate when your team needs you, deny the enemy the river buffs and their amber link, as well as not getting ganked and farm effectively. Seems like a lot, right? Well, not really. It all becomes second nature once you get used to it. Some great mid lane heroes that I like to use are the ones that you would typically use on Legacy as well, like Howitzer, Gadget, Gideon and Counters, and really any hero that falls into that caster role. Heroes with a good level 5 ultimate that can inflict a lot of damage are quite valuable because you'll hit level 5 before the enemy duo lane, allowing you to maybe rotate and pick up some kills. The most important thing as a mid laner though is farm. You don't want to fall behind in CP or XP. Both are incredibly valuable on Monolith, but if you start to fall behind in XP against your laner, things can get a bit tricky, especially at the higher levels of play. The river buffs first spawn at 3 minutes and then respawn every 2 minutes after that, so ideally you and your jungler should be securing these when possible. I like to ward around them as vision by the river is ideal, as you can often spot rotations from the jungler or any rotations to and from mid lane. There are 4 river buffs in the game, and all 4 of these buffs provide 35 mana regen per second for 5 seconds, so basically they restore 175 mana. We have a blue river buff that grants movement speed, a black river buff that grants a damage dot on enemies, a purple river buff that allows you to enter the shadow plane for a duration, and finally a red river buff that increases your ability damage. I'd like to note that this may change in the future, but regardless of the type of buff, stopping the enemy from having it is the idea. Now the raptors on Monolith are pretty important. In fact, each raptor provides a card level, so while you want to deny the enemy their buffs, denying the raptors is equally important, and I like to keep it warded just in case. The raptors provide you carry with a huge amount of CP if you can get it. I mean, anyone can take it, but ideally getting your carry ahead is priority. The raptors are quite strong, so trying to do them solo is a bad idea, but if you see the enemy doing it, then you can punish them. So you know farming is important, and so is the river buff, but what about rotations? The way Monolith is currently set up, it is more effective to get a kill rather than farm, and I don't mean you neglect your farm, but if there's a kill, you should definitely try and get it, and this is because you get more CP per kill than you do per wave. This rewards those players that can rotate well, and if you're securing the river buff, all 4 buffs provide you with some advantage that should make this task easier. You'll see in this clip that I grab the river buff and then rotate. My 2 allies are pretty low, but so are the enemy, and a rotation from myself is most likely going to allow us to grab 2 kills here. The blue buff with the movement speed helps me rotate faster, as well as giving me a huge amount of mana back during my travels. When I get to the lane, I throw down my ultimate which catches Rampage, and I follow Steel to finish him off with my abilities while my allies do the same to Rampage. An easy rotation equals 2 kills. And this is one of the factors that make a good mid laner, knowing when to rotate and always keeping an eye out for enemies that are out of position. This is just a short introduction to the middle lane to help you get familiar with the basics, so I hope you found it useful. I want to cover all the roles before I move on to more advanced topics. I'll also have some builds and guides out very soon, and if you have any questions at all, be sure to leave them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Smash that thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys soon.
Bump, jump, jump, bump, 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 jump, jump, bump, bump.